We met formally at a massage workshop in Vermont that we both were attending. In that workshop, I took an instant dislike to Donna because she was what I call a know-it-all. She was correcting the teachers. She was disagreeing with things that were said. In a way, she was trying to take over the whole workshop, and I thought she was obnoxious.
I was in private practice as a psychotherapist, and most of the women that were my clients were talking about their new lover, Andy. And I, day after day, would listen to one woman talk about Andy, her new lover, and another woman talk about Andy, her new lover. And because it was the time when we were flaunting our feminism, and Andy used to wear his shirts unbuttoned to here, and the hair would come. I was sure he was a male chauvinist pig, and I detested him.
Some time went by after that. We were both living with separate people, or different people at that time, and we would hear of each other through work. I was doing massage and chiropractic in a clinic. She had a practice in psychotherapy. And eventually we would refer people back and forth because professionally we were getting really good results, and that was undeniable, even though I didn't particularly like her.
Always before, I had looked for people who were like me. I had dated people who were like me. And I couldn't understand why they ended up so flat and boring. And Andy was as unlike me as it was possible to be, and yet it was very interesting to me because Andy was evoking that inside myself which was dormant and asleep. We had nothing in common.
I became friends with Donna before I became lovers, and that was a very unusual circumstance. Usually, in retrospect, I was so insecure if I couldn't be in physical contact, I couldn't even say 10 words to somebody. However, we were good friends for a long time, and then we happened to join each other in Jamaica. She held a workshop in Jamaica in Montego Bay, and I went to join her there from where I was living at the time. And at some point, this is where our story differs a little bit, we were making love. We woke up and we were making love, wild love together. And she swears that I was on top. I say, no, you were on top. And so that was our first consummation physically. And she said, stop, I have not chosen this. And I said, it feels to me like you've chosen this, but if you want to stop, we can take a pause here. And so we contracted for the rest of that vacation in Jamaica. We were going to do this just for a few days here, and then it was going to be separate places. I was going back to Florida, she was going back to Vermont. We were back in our separate places. So one night, I was sleeping with this nurse in Key West, and the phone rang, and she said, how could you do that? And I freaked out because she says, who is she? It turns out that she had had a dream in Vermont thinking that she was making love to a woman, and she says, wait a minute, I'm not making love. This is him. But the connection was so unusual for me. I didn't believe in that kind of stuff. It unnerved me.
When we began to dream the same dreams together, and even when we were separated by Vermont and Florida, it became clear to me that there was no way we were going to be separate. No way. We would be individuals, but that there was no way we could be separated.
We were making wild love one night, and I looked at her as looking through centuries of time, and I looked at her and said, you're the one. There was a really cellular recognition that had to do with saying, you're the one. We met in 1974, and we did the M word. We got married in 1984.
24 years we've been married, and it makes it 32 years we've been lovers, and a lot of years we've been best friends. When we met, my son was 15, and he hated Andy. And he wrote Andy a letter that said, I hate the way you look, and the way you walk, and the way you sound, and the way you smell, and leave my mother alone. And
stop making those noises at night.
And my son and Andy became best friends over time.
A lot of our work has to do with people defining their gifts and their diversity and how to dance with their gifts with people who are very different than they are. So Donna, for example, has the gift of great imagination, innovation, and can take any situation and find 500 possibilities in that situation. Really wonderful variety of things.
Andy helps me remember this moment because I will never again have this particular moment, and he helps me remember that in a cellular way. that I live this moment. He gives earth to the seeds that I come up with of ideas. Creates stability and earth and embrace and the present moment.
We married one another, but we also married the possibility of helping each other's dreams come true.
We began to work together. And we balance each other so well. When I'm going too fast and too fiery, Andy always comes in and brings earth to people and stability and calm. And when he tends to get too heavy in his work, I tend to bring life and fire to it.
The way we came together was vowing to support each other in the dreams they wanted to grow. And some feature that she mentioned to me at one point, she says, it's not enough that we love each other. That won't be enough. We'll be let down every time if I make you the object of my love. We have to love something in common.
We are two solitudes protecting and respecting each other. We spend a lot of time by ourselves and a lot of time together because so much of our work is together that we need to come home and, in fact, move into our own solitudes.
How we've lived and practiced and learned love. And there's a sense of respect both from myself and for Donna that is my compass.
Andy and I help each other find the stability of comfort, but then we help each other go through the unknown and encourage each other to find the ways that increase the aliveness within us and between us and increase the aliveness to other people. And I think that's the glue that holds us together, helps us let go when we need to, and encourages us to come back together again and again and again in ways that our relationship and that each of us are more alive, and to share that with other people.